So during his hearing, Brett Kavanaugh claims that he didn't know about the allegations from both Deborah Ramirez, Christine Blasey Ford, and Julie Swetnick. And now, of course, that he knows, he categorically denies them. However, there is new evidence that he did at least know about one of the allegations. Now, this has been revealed through text messages that have been obtained by the FBI. Now, according to an article here, in the days leading up to a public allegation that Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh exposed himself to a college classmate, that's Deborah Ramirez, the judge and his team were communicating behind the scenes with friends to refute the claim, according to text messages obtained by NBC News. So both the FBI now and NBC News have these text messages. Now, how it got to the FBI, well, that's also part of the story, and also very, very interesting. Now, Carrie Burcham, who was at Yale with both Kavanaugh and his accuser, Ramirez, had tried to get those messages to the FBI for its newly reopened investigation into the matter, but says that she had not been contacted by the Bureau. Now, again, this story came out yesterday, so that might have actually changed by now. Because now that they've been found to have that investigation that was too limited in scope and got called out for it, now they're saying, limited in scope, only to 4 people? Oh, no, no, they can talk to anybody. In fact, the FBI's got free reign now. This was a cover-up. This investigation was not actually meant to find anything. It's amazing. But anyway, now, these text messages between Burcham and Karen Yarosavage, both friends of Kavanaugh, suggest that the nominee was personally talking with former classmates about Ramirez's story in advance of the New Yorker article that made the allegation public. Well, now, why would he do that? Well, in order to smear Ramirez and to say, whoa, what she's saying? Totally not true. You guys can back me up. In fact, I want you to make public statements in order to discredit her and her story. In one message, Yarosavage said Kavanaugh asked her to go on the record in his defense. 2 other messages also showed communication between Kavanaugh's team and former classmates in advance of the story. Now, here's the thing. Kavanaugh actually claimed that it wasn't me. And this happened, of course, in an interview, in transcripts of an interview with Republican Judiciary Committee staff on September 25th, 2 days after the Ramirez allegations were reported in the New Yorker. He claimed that it was Ramirez, not himself, that was calling around to classmates trying to see if they remembered what happened. Adding that, quote, "It strikes me as, what is going on here?" Me? No, I never put my junk in Debbie Ramirez's face drunkenly. No, I never did that. I don't remember doing that anyway. And no, it's not because I was drinking, because that could have been a defense. Like, man, I was drinking so much I forgot what happened, and I'm really, really sorry. No, his defense is, I don't drink. I have a beer. I like beer, but I never get blackout drunk and do these things. What's going on here? It must be Debbie Ramirez trying to smear me. Now, here's the thing. Here's more of his statement, actually. When someone is calling around to try to refresh other people, is that what's going on? What's going on with that? That doesn't sound good to me. It doesn't sound fair. It doesn't sound proper. It sounds like an orchestrated hit to take me out. Those are Kavanaugh's words on the 25th, 2 days after the story came out. But we find out earlier that it was Kavanaugh that was calling around trying to smear Debbie Ramirez and to cast doubt on her story. Now, here's the thing. What's the reason that he said that? Well, obviously he's trying to defend himself, but also he's trying to get other people on his side. This is a dog whistle to conservatives who are open to believing that all the allegations against Republicans are basically nothing but political in nature. No, it's the Democrats that are bad. I mean, look at Harvey Weinstein. Ooh, what a terrible monster. What a horrible person. Look at Al Franken. What a terrible person. What a monster. We need to get rid of him. Oh, our guy? Roy Moore? No. Kavanaugh? Oh, absolutely not. What are you kidding? It's all political hit jobs. Donald Trump? Political hit job. Fake news. This is all deeply, deeply political, and in doing so, he has shown himself, Kavanaugh has, to be an incredible partisan. And you know what's worse? A lot of Republican voters believe it. A lot of Republican voters either believe Kavanaugh or they don't care. They don't care that if the allegations are found to be true, they still don't care. They would rather put somebody on the Supreme Court like that who did these things than lose, than not have someone on the Supreme Court. Man, insanity. But let me get to more into the details here. Now, the texts demonstrate that Kavanaugh and Ramirez were most socially connected than previously understood, and that Ramirez was very uncomfortable around Kavanaugh when they saw each other at a wedding 10 years after they graduated. Burcham's efforts also showed that some potential witnesses have been unable to get important information to the FBI. Now, in a statement to NBC News, Burcham, a partner in the law firm Aiken Gump, said, quote, "I understand that President Trump and the U.S. Senate have ordered the FBI investigation into certain allegations of sexual misconduct by the nominee Brett Kavanaugh. I have no direct or indirect knowledge about any of the allegations against him. However, I am in receipt of text messages from a mutual friend of both Debbie and mine that raised questions related to the allegations. I have not drawn any conclusions as to what the text may mean or may not mean, but I do believe they merit investigation by the FBI and Senate." Basically saying, look, I got this information. You might be interested in looking at it. I don't have any opinion either way, but here you go. Here's the evidence that I have. And on Sunday, Burcham emailed FBI agent J.C. McDonough her memo. After getting no response, she resent the summary on Monday morning along with the screenshots of certain texts that she thinks raised questions that should be investigated. Again, there's somebody who has information, tries to put it to the FBI, tries to give it to the FBI, and because it was so limited in scope, the FBI didn't get back to her. Cover up? Well, Burcham doesn't think so. She said, "I'm sure he's just really busy, and I expect that he'll get back to me." Oh man, you're too trusting. Bless your heart. I think this is an attempt to cover up because it was so limited in scope. But anyway, what this means is that there are still a group of people that the FBI should talk to because they have information that's relevant to this investigation. Now, the nature of the evidence is, well, maybe they could find something exculpatory. Or not. Don't know. Now, Burcham, dismayed at not being able to reach the FBI, did reach out to Senator Richard Blumenthal. Now, Blumenthal said, "We heard from Kerry late on Thursday and submitted her summary to the Judiciary Committee early Friday." Spokesman for Blumenthal said in a statement to NBC News, "After we were made to jump through several hoops that delayed our moving forward, it became clear that the majority committee staff had not turned the summary over to the FBI and in fact had no intention of turning it over to the FBI. With our insistence, Kerry submitted her summary to the FBI herself." Now, on the other side, however, you've got Chuck Grassley. Now, Chuck Grassley likely does not believe Blasey Ford, doesn't believe in any of these accusations against Judge Kavanaugh and wants to move him forward, right? Is in favor. Now, he said through a spokesman that the texts from Ms. Burcham do not appear relevant or contradictory to Judge Kavanaugh's testimony. This appears to be another last-ditch effort to derail the nomination with baseless innuendo by Democrats who have already decided to vote no. That's George Hartman, a spokesman for Chuck Grassley. Political hit job. Political hit job. That's all it is. Political hit job. And look, the thing is, they're repeating it often, so often. It's all they say. But that gets into people's heads. You repeat a lie often enough, people are going to start to believe it. And Republicans right now do believe it. Now, whether this is relevant evidence or not into the claims, there is still problems with Kavanaugh lying. As these texts would indicate, Kavanaugh has absolutely lied about his relationship with Ramirez. Now, Burcham's text with Yura Savage included a copy of a photograph of a small group of friends from Yale at a 1997 wedding. Now, that is actually a pretty, I think, a pretty big piece of evidence there. That picture, again, he's like, oh, who? Debbie who? Ramirez? Never heard of her. Well, this picture says otherwise. In fact, that photo showed Kavanaugh smiling alongside Ramirez 10 years after they had graduated. Both were at a wedding party. Kavanaugh was a groomsman and Ramirez a bridesmaid at this particular wedding. Now, when Kavanaugh was asked about the wedding during a committee interview on September 25th, he said, I don't know, I was probably at the wedding. Maybe. Probably there with Ramirez. Asked if he interacted with her, Kavanaugh replied, I'm sure I saw her because it wasn't a huge wedding, but added that I don't recall. I mean, I might have been there, and I don't really recall. Really? Well, that would be misleading Congress. Look, lying to Congress is a felony, whether or not your testimony is taken under oath or not. You shouldn't lie to Congress. I know there's a certain irony because Congress can lie to you all the time, but hey, I get it. If you're somebody who's like, well, the law is the law, you got to follow the law. Well, then lying to Congress is a felony. That's the law. You can't lie to Congress. The problem with Kavanaugh here is that he cannot help but lie. That alone should disqualify him from the bench. Not along with being nakedly partisan, which he absolutely is. And that's not even counting the allegations if they're found to be true. Kavanaugh has disqualified himself through his actions. Why are we still here? Why is this still a thing? Why has Kavanaugh not been withdrawn his nomination? Why? And now we have him sending texts to people asking to aid his defense before allegations become public, which contradicts his previous statements about not knowing about the charges. He knew it was going to come up. How much more did we need to see? Well, apparently a lot more. In a series of texts before the publication of the New Yorker story, Yaroslavich wrote that she had been in contact with Brett's guy and also with Brett, who wanted to go on the record to refute Ramirez. According to Burcham, Yaroslavich also told her friend that she turned over a copy of the wedding party photo to Kavanaugh, writing in a text, I had to send it to Brett's team too. Further, the text showed Kavanaugh may need to be questioned about how far back he anticipated that Ramirez would air questions or allegations against him. Burcham says in her memo that Kavanaugh and or his friends may have initiated an anticipatory narrative as early as July to conceal or discredit Ramirez. July, man. July. They knew. And look, I asked a question. When those 65 women came out in favor of Kavanaugh, overnight, I was like, wait a minute. That seems really weird. Like, don't you think that there's something a little odd that overnight, as soon as the allegations came out, he had 65 women sign something that says, oh no, I know Judge Kavanaugh. He would never do something like this. In fact, Judge Kavanaugh, he's got a wonderful character. He would never, ever do anything like this. And all the allegations against him are wrong. Who has that ready? Somebody who expects it. Somebody who expects it, of course. Kavanaugh told the Senate Judiciary Committee back on September 23rd, under oath, that the first time he heard of Ramirez's allegation was in the New Yorker. And I'm sorry, the New Yorker article came up on September 23rd. He told him on the 25th. So that is a lie. He has been caught up in yet another lie. Another one. There's more. A September 24 text shows Yaroslavich clarifying that she did not refute Ramirez's claims to the New Yorker. Republicans in Kavanaugh have said that his former classmates, who gave anonymous statement to the New Yorker, have refuted Ramirez's claim. That's one of them, right? So, oh no, I've got former classmates here that refute the claim. Yaroslavich says, no, I didn't refute it. She said, quote, I didn't say I would have known. I said she never told me. I never heard a word of this ever happening and never saw it. but then said, the media surmised that I was saying she's lying, but I'm not. I just wasn't there. I didn't hear about it. That doesn't mean that I don't believe her. That doesn't mean that it didn't happen, and I don't refute those charges. But unfortunately, Republicans continue to play that narrative and continue to say, no, they refute it. They refute it. No, they don't. They're just saying, I wasn't there, so I cannot confirm it. That is a lie. Now, there's one more thing that concerns the wedding party. To go back to that. According to the information that Burcham provided, Ramirez tried to avoid Kavanaugh at the wedding of their two friends, Yara Savage and Kevin Genda. Ramirez, Burcham wrote, clung to me. She never went near them, a reference to Kavanaugh and his friends. Even in the group photo, Burcham wrote, Ramirez was trying to keep away from Kavanaugh. Now, the question here, the reason that I bring this up, and this was in a September 24th text message. Why would you want to avoid Kavanaugh if he didn't do anything wrong? If he didn't shove his junk in her face, if he didn't get blackout drunk and become belligerent, why avoid him? I'm pretty sure most of you ladies that are watching would probably go out of their way to avoid someone who did that to you in a drunken fit, who has a history of drinking too much and then becoming both aggressive and belligerent towards women, who also may have participated, and we don't know, in rape trains on unconscious women. And part of the allegations from Julie Swetnick is that, look, he was present. I don't know if he actually was involved in them, but he might have been spiking the drinks, and he might have, but I didn't see it. But I know that he was there when it happened. He was present. And I'd like to know what that means. But look, if he didn't do it, then why would you avoid him, right? And you also wouldn't contact classmates to organize a defense against charges that weren't even out yet if you didn't do it. Nobody does that. And that's the point. No one does that unless they know charges are coming down the pike. Charges not only that he's lying about, but also lying about knowing before that article was even published. He knew about the charges. And he lied about it. Constantly. Lies. He lied about the Renata alumnus, about the drinking age in Maryland. Oh no, it was 18, so I was legally drinking. No, it wasn't. It was actually just changed to 21. He also lied about boofing and the Devil's Triangle, being part of the Ralph Club. He lied about Beach Week. Lied about, again, how much he drank. Several of his former classmates say, no, this guy was a sloppy drunk. He had a real problem. He'd get shit-faced and belligerent. And look, he didn't just lie about just himself. He's lied in a lot of other circumstances while being on the bench. He lied in a political context about the nomination of Charles Pickering. Not only that, but he lied about his involvement with the William Pryor nomination. He has been shown to have lied constantly. Constantly. Now, I'm going to ask you guys, what happens when you lie in a job interview, on a job application? What happens to you? Because that's what this is, by the way. It's not a criminal trial. Nobody's going to jail, although they probably should. Nobody's going to jail. Nobody's going to get punished. This is a job interview. What happens when you lie during a job interview? Do you get the job? Maybe, if they don't pick up on it. But sooner or later, that lie comes and it catches up with you. And you get fired. But this is different. This is a lifetime appointment. Yes, it is a job interview for a lifetime appointment, and it's incredibly difficult to get rid of a sitting judge. That's why this is important. He is a serial liar and a possible rapist. If anybody doesn't belong on that court, it's Judge Kavanaugh. Should say no on Kavanaugh. All the Democrats immediately should say no and no longer have the hearings if they're going to put up Kavanaugh. Walk out. Done. We're done with this because he is shown to have been utterly disqualified. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.